What are broiler chickens? Broiler chickens are raised primarily for meat rather than to lay eggs. These poultry are often white and are bred to be large and very healthy, often with more breast meat for the consumer market. Kinds of brooder chicken. First is straight-line chickens. These are baby chicks that are sold without knowing if they are female or male. This is typically because the chicks are too young to be reliably sexed. Straight-run chickens are generally around 25% to 40% cheaper than pullets, point-of-lay, and adult hens and roosters. This is because the breeder knows they are getting both males and females off their hand shortly after they're born. Second, chicken sexing. It is the method of distinguishing the sex of chickens and other hatchlings, usually by a trained person called a chick sexer or chicken sexer. Chicken sexing is practiced mostly by large commercial hatcheries to separate female chicks or pullets from the males or cockerels. The last is started chicken. This refers to old chicks to have already been bred for a period of time. These chicks are more expensive than day-old chicks. How to raise broiler chicks. Raising meat chicken from brooder to broiler is similar to raising layers, but meat birds have special needs during the rearing process. If your farm's goal is to raise your own meat for the first time, here's what you need to know to keep your chicken healthy from the day they hatch until processing time. First is provide room to grow. Meat bird chicks need a dry, clean, draft-free location large enough to accommodate their fast-growing bodies. Minimize drafts. Until the chicks are pretty well fatted out, drafts can stress them, which can sometimes lead to death, especially in the colder months. Install a draft barrier 12 to 18 inches tall to block the cold air and help keep brooding temperature constant. Get the right bedding. Bedding or litter is used in the brooder house to absorb droppings and help chicks stay warm. Cover the floor of the broiler room with litter 3 to 4 inches deep. Daily remove any clumped litter and stir the remaining litter so it absorbs moisture better and lasts longer. Keep the brooder house warm. A heat source is a non-negotiable piece of equipment that helps stay warm just like a mother hen would. Traditionally, this is a heat light or infrared bulb fitted with a shield that reflects warmth down into the chicks. Regulate brooder house temperature. Newly hatched chicks need to be kept in a 95-degree Fahrenheit environment for the first week of their lives. After that, you can decrease the temperature 5 degrees per week until they're 4 weeks old. Provide water. For the first 2 to 3 days of life, chicks don't eat or drink much because they're using nutrients from their yolk sac. However, if you ordered chicks through the mail, they'll be ready to start eating and drinking by the time they arrived. Monitor feeding. Meat chickens are a growing machine, so you'll need enough feeder space so that all chicks can eat at the same time. Last, provide transition housing. Once feathered, the broilers can be transferred to a predator-free, sheltered grow pen, coop, or chicken tractor.
What is layer raising? Layer raising involves raising laying poultry birds for the purpose of commercial egg production. Layer chickens are a special species of hens which start laying eggs commercially from 18 to 19 weeks of age. These chickens can lay about 1 egg per 28 hours within a span of 1 to 2 years. Many people are confused of the difference between layer and broiler raising, but the difference can be easily distinguished. Broiler raising is raising chickens for meat products, while in layer raising, the product is the eggs. However, after a layer becomes old and incapable to lay eggs, they can also be sold for their meat. Layer raising costs more money than broiler raising as the process is more intricate and time-consuming. That's because in layer raising, the chickens would have to stay with the farmer for a longer time and would consume much more food, immunizations, and shelter space. Equipment such as dropping board for collecting manure, which can be used as fertilizers, purchased to provide more places for the chickens, nest, breeding coops, and feeding troughs are some equipments necessary to keep a productive and orderly layer raising farm. Another factor that affects the costing is the amount of chickens that should be present in the farm for the business to have a decent income. It needs at least 500 chickens. There are different types of poultry housing that may be involved in layer raising. These include a brooder or a chick house, brooder's grower chicken housing, grower poultry housing, layer poultry house, broiler house, a breeder house, and an environmentally controlled poultry house. This is for raising baby poultry or chicks from age 0 to 8 weeks. It usually includes a heat lamp, a source of food, and water for the chicks and a bedding. The grow house is used to grow layers of poultry from 9 to 18 weeks of age. This is where you prepare the birds until they reach maturity and are ready to start laying eggs. The layer house is a structure for growing layers. This is where you rear your birds which are over 18 weeks of age until they reach 72 weeks of age or until they become too old to lay eggs. The broiler house is where you grow birds for commercial meat production. This building should be available for rearing your broilers until they get to the age of 6 weeks. Growing broilers for meat production is a good business because broilers gain maturity within a very short period. The breeder house is where you keep both male and female breeders at appropriate sex ratio to produce fertilized eggs. Many broiler breeder farmers use this housing system to raise female and male birds who are parents of broiler chickens. As a result, a breeder poultry farm usually has a hatchery for hatching the eggs from the farm.
Layers are housed in places where they can be productive and be free of diseases. This is why a proper housing layout is necessary. These layouts can be referred to as housing systems. Here are some of the housing systems used in layer raising that can be referred to. Cage system. In here, the layers are placed individually or in groups in a cage. In this system, there is a maintenance of a higher egg production rate throughout the years. Slatted or wire floor poultry system. This is the conventional housing system where birds have the freedom to roam in the open floor. An advantage for this type of system is that there is an ease in controlling flies and mites and lesser number of dirty and broken eggs. There is also the slat floor cum litter system, which combines both the features and advantages of the slat system with that of the deep litter system. And the multi-tier system or aviaries, which utilizes the vertical space of the housing through the use of leveled living spaces for the chickens. In the litter type system, farmers use litter as cover of the floor surface. This system is recommended for breeders than for layers, but it can be used for layer raising as well. It requires the installation of nests and perch for the birds at night. Food is also vital in layer raising. Choosing the right kind and amount of feeds are also essential to creating and maintaining good quality egg product. It is necessary that a ration of feeds to be provided are adapted to the purpose for which the hens are being fed, attractive and palatable, and that the ration increases the chance of supplying the nutritive needs of the hens. Above all, the cost of the ration should be reasonable. As mentioned, layer raising would require more effort than other poultry raising farms. The initial capital is much bigger, risks are much higher, and the process requires a lot of research and understanding. However, just like any kinds of efforts, the more effort you put into your work, the greater the fruit of harvest you will receive.
Swine raising is a very popular business in the Philippines, which has resulted in the development of the pork industry and a healthy, sustainable commercial sector among home producers. Gilts are female pig that is less than 6 months and hasn't been bred yet. They are kept primarily for reproduction. After breeding or having a litter, the gilt will be called a sow. A barrow, on the other hand, is a male pig that has been castrated or rendered incapable for reproducing before he reaches sexual maturity. On the other hand, an intact male that can be used for breeding purposes is called a boar. Small and starting pig farmers must have a broad knowledge about the races and kinds of pigs. Adequate size, growth rate, and reproduction rate will influence the amount of feed and other resources needed to raise various species of pigs successfully. Patrimonial or uncommon hog breeds are typically a unique alternative for small farmers. Large white breeds are entirely white with medium and erect ears. These sows are excellent milkers, wean large litters, have superior mothering ability and farrowing. They adapt well in confinement but not to rugged conditions. Land races are white, short-legged, and has medium to large drooping ears. Sows have excellent mothering ability and litter size. They are heavy milkers, thus they produce pigs with superior growth rate and feed utilization efficiency. Duroch's color is of varying shades of red. The sows are prolific and are good for farrowing. They produce pigs that are superior in growth rate and in feed conversion, and their performance under rugged conditions is better than any of the white breeds. Hampshires are the black with a white belt around their shoulders. They are short-legged and lacks body thickness. The sows are noted for weaning with a high percentage of pigs farrowed and are adaptable to very rugged conditions. Berkshires are black with 4 white feet. Some have white in the face and tail. Ears are erect and inclined forward as the animal grows older. This breed is meaty and adaptable to rugged conditions. P-train is a meaty type of pig with black and white spots on its body. The hams, shoulders, and loins are well shaped. The ears are erect. Its carcass has a high lean meat percentage but poor body constitution. Formulating an excellent pig feed will contribute to your litter's optimum growth. Feeds must meet the pig's need for maintenance, development, and reproduction, as well as provide adequate calories, protein, minerals, and vitamins.
What is goat racing? Goat racing involves the raising and breeding of domestic goats as a branch of animal husbandry. People farm goats principally for their meat, milk, fiber, and skins.
Here are some of the goat breeds that can be found in the Philippines. The Anglo-Nubian goat is one of the most popular goat breeds due to its extreme milking capability. Its distinguishing features include dropping and pendulous ears, and a brown hair or a combination of brown and black. It has a long body that usually weighs around 65 to 78 kilograms and is capable of producing 2 liters of milk daily. The Seinen is a goat native from the Swiss. They can be distinguished as they are white and have a straight nose and exact ears. These goats are also popular milk producers, and the milk products usually contain 4.3% of butter. They are classified as the highest goat milk producers worldwide. The Philippine goat has a small but hardy body and weighs around 25 kilograms at maturity. Its coat color is brown, white, or black, or the combination of 3. Milk produced are just enough for its young, so it's mostly being bred for its meat. The Boer goat commonly have white bodies and distinctive brown heads, which usually weigh around 75 kilograms. They are hardy, disease-resistant, and meaty, which makes them a popular breed for meat production. Toggenburg originated from Switzerland. Its distinguishing features are white markings on the face, legs, and tails, and they also have erect ears like the Seinen. Milk products from the Toggenburg usually average around 1.5 liters daily. Alpine is another European goat breed. They have no set colors or markings, but they have horns, a straight profile, and erect ears. This breed also produces an average of 1.5 liters of milk daily. Here are some of the procedures that needs to be done when raising goats. Weaning. It is at this stage when the young stop feeding on milk to avoid faulty feeding management. Castration or removing of testicles is done to non-breeding goats which will be slaughtered at a young age. The horning and hoof trimming is also needed to be done to keep the goats from getting injured. An ear tag is also placed on the goat to keep record of them using a unique number. Raising goats are also a tedious work. However, if you choose to do it, you should keep in mind that they also need to be well sheltered. For goat housing, the site should be accessible, should be protected by natural windbreak, near to a water source, and most importantly, must be easy to clean and well drained, and suitable to the conditions of the area.
What is cattle raising? Cattle raising is a branch of animal husbandry concerned with raising cows, bulls, oxen, and calves to be used for various purposes, prominently being dairy, beef, and leather. Maintaining a cattle farm mainly requires pastures for early feeding and feedlots where cattle are fed grains to be fattened up for slaughter. It also involves handling, grazing, housing, fly control, and reproduction. Handling. Cows needs to be handled in a way that prevents stress or injury to them and ensures their overall well-being. Grazing. Cattle farming needs ample pasture space for grazing. Cattle consumes wild vegetations in order to convert grass and other forages into meat, milk, wool, and other animal products. Housing. Housing for cattle needs to fulfill many requirements including cleanliness, personal space, and proper ventilation. But in reality, the cattle industry hardly meets these needs. So in order to produce high-quality cattle products, their housing should be comfortable, clean, and well-ventilated shelter. Fly control. Seemingly harmless, flies carry a lot of diseases that cattle are susceptible to. Given the unclean housing conditions and crowding in cattle farms, fly numbers increase. Farmers often use pesticides and insecticides to deal with the problem. Reproduction. To ensure a steady supply of milk and to have calves for leather and veal, reproduction is necessary. Cattle farm management involves artificial insemination to ensure that the cow gets pregnant every year with good genes, ensuring a continuous supply of milk, meat, and other products for humans.